Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my August mid-month wrap-up. So in the first half of August, from the 1st through the 15th, I read a total of 11 books, which I'm really happy with. My August reading month got off to like a really great start. I was reading so much. It did slow down after kind of the first week because I got a new plan for my phone and I have a lot more data than I used to, so I downloaded a new game onto my phone and I've been playing that on the bus rather than reading, so I haven't been getting done as much reading like as I was right near the start of the month, but I'm still really happy with 11 books because that doesn't include any audiobooks. I had an audiobook on hold and I was like the next in line for it and I kept expecting it to come in like any day, so I didn't want to download another audiobook in case that one came in and then I didn't have time to finish them both. So I just kept waiting and then it took forever to come in, and just every day I was like, oh, it still hasn't come in, so I was just listening to music rather than listening to my audiobook. So I managed to read 11 books without reading any audiobooks in the first half of the month, so I'm really happy with that. But nonetheless, let's jump straight in and talk about the 11 books that I managed to read in the first half of August. The first book that I completed in the month of August was The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. And I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this basically maybe just a little bit less than I did The Raven Boys, but I still really loved this. For me, this is just such a nuanced story. I really enjoy the way Maggie Stiefvater tells the story, and it just, everything is so interconnected, and the characters and the character relationships, that is what I'm here for in this series, and I just really did love this, and in the end I gave this one 4 stars. So I did rate it a quarter of a star less than the first book, but I did still really love this. The next book I completed was Blue Bloods by Melissa Delacruz. So this is one of the books that I had on my physical to read list that has been on there for forever, and I had been meaning to read, and I finally read it, and I have to say I was quite disappointed in it. I found it to be on the younger end of YA for me. Like, it felt very young, like when reading it. I also thought that there was absolutely no world building. Like, the world building was just so lacking for me. I thought the mystery that was kind of going on in it was seriously underdeveloped, and when I finished the book I just didn't care like what was going to happen next. So I will not be continuing with the series, especially given the fact that it is 7 books, I think, and like I said, I just really couldn't care. In the end, I really didn't love this one as much as I hoped that I would, and I gave it 2.5 stars. Next, I completed Giant Days Volume 3. I did still really like this, but I definitely did not enjoy this volume as much as I did volumes 1 and 2. For me, because this is like a trade and it's a bind up of issues, the issues didn't seem to flow as well into each other. It became much more like episodic, like watching episodes of a TV show almost, rather than it flowing all into each other. I did still really enjoy it, and I enjoy like the characters and their relationships, and I do still find it really relatable and all of that, but I definitely did not think this volume was as strong as the previous volumes, and in the end I gave this one 3.5 stars. The next book that I completed was Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. So this is the 3rd book in the series, and I really loved this one as well. This one is angsty AF, and like I was here for it. Like, the angst in this is just my kind of angst. Like, it was like painful kind of angst, but like in a really good way. I'm not describing it well at all, but I really did. I loved this. I adore the characters in this so much. I couldn't wait to see how it was going to end, and I just really loved this. In the end, I gave this one 4.25 stars. Next, I read a couple of the novellas that I had on my Kindle. The first of those was The Princess of Egypt Must Die by Stephanie Dray. So as I said, this is just a novella, and it follows a girl living in Egypt. She is the daughter of like a king, but she's not like, as in the king has like heaps and heaps of wives, and she's just one of his many children that he's had with his many wives. She is abused a lot by her older sister, who is from a different mother, who is much more favored by the king than she is, and eventually in the story she is married off to a king from another like area, another part of, you know, another kingdom basically, and she ends up falling in love with someone who is forbidden to her. I actually thought the writing in this was not too bad, but as the problem that I have with most novellas, it just was really, really, it just didn't have any depth, and this, like, all the side characters were kind of in there. None of them had any depth enough to create any kind of, like, atmosphere, and it just felt rushed. But I could see the potential in this author, and even in the story. Like, I feel like in maybe like a full story, the author really, like, could have created something great, and in the end I gave this 2.75 stars. The second novella that I read was No Strings Attached by Chris L. Woodall. This is a new adult novella about a couple who basically have a, like, friends with benefits relationship. I really didn't like this. I thought it was very ordinary. The writing was not up to par for me. The characters were just, it was a very short novella, but the characters were so, like, they had no character development across, like, the story that she was trying to tell. It was very, very cliche. I just really didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. The next book that I completed was The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. This I enjoyed a lot. It was just such like an engrossing series and a book. Like, I just kept wanting to read this whenever I could because I was so invested in the story and in the characters. I just wanted everything to be all right for these characters, and so I was just kept on reading because I just wanted to know, like, what was going to happen to them. This series has one of my OTPs of all time in it. Like, there is an OTP, like, in this that is possibly my favorite OTP of all time now. Like, literally, I love them so, so much. I did really love this. I thought that the ending was going to, like, tear my heart out. And in terms of that, it did fall a little bit flat. I still really loved it, but I just expected me to be, like, completely torn apart, and it just didn't really happen like that. But I did still really, really love it, and I think it was on par with the other books, and in the end I gave this one 4.25 stars. And I definitely recommend this series. You hear a lot about it. Some people really like it, some people don't, but for me, I really, really loved this. Next, I completed another novella, and that was Visions of Sugar Plums by Janet Evanovich. So this is, I think, book 8.5 in the Stephanie Plum series, and I, like, saw it on a list of the books in the series and realized I hadn't read it, so I got it out from the library. And it's just a novella set around Christmas time, and it introduces, so from what I understand after I read it, I looked into it a bit further, and I believe that Janet Evanovich was launching a new series that followed a new character in order to kind of introduce that character to her readers and, like, get her invested readers in this series interested in the new series. She wrote a novella that has the Stephanie Plum characters, but also had this new character who's going to be in her, like, different series in it, if that makes sense. And it has kind of a supernatural element to it, which just really didn't work for me in this, because the Stephanie Plum series is like a contemporary chick lit series. It doesn't have any kind of supernatural elements in the 12 books that I'd read up to this point. So, well, the 13 books that I'd read, 11 books that I'd read up to this point. So, I don't know, it just felt a bit weird, but I still really enjoy, like, the characters and all their interactions and stuff. So it wasn't like a complete miss. I just thought the whole supernatural thing was a bit weird, and it was just really unnecessary. So in the end, I gave this one 2.5 stars. So next I moved on to the 12th book in the Stephanie Plum series. This is 12 Sharp by Janet Evanovich. Now, this one I have mixed opinions about, because as far as the series goes, I actually thought it was one of the better books in the series. I thought it was one of the books that I have enjoyed most kind of overall, but this one has some real problems that I couldn't look past in rating it. So in the end, I gave it 3 stars, because while it was my favorite, I had some real problems. Some parts of it just didn't make sense. Like, there's a character who needed Stephanie's help, and that's kind of where the whole plot stems from. And I just didn't buy into really that he would need her help, because he has so many connections and so many people that could help him. Like, I just didn't see why he would need this, like, you know, inept bounty hunter's help. And the character in this also, you know, he's staying at her house and he's supposed to be sleeping on the couch, and he says he won't get into her bed, and then she wakes up and he's in her bed, and that really bothered me. Like, that's not okay. And he also makes a comment at one point that he is fine with partial consent. I really had a problem with that. I also thought that we were, like, the author kind of teases you that we were finally going to get a resolution to the love triangle that has been going on in this series for 12 books, and we didn't get it. And that really, this series goes on for so long. I believe there's 24 books. So I'm literally halfway through. Are we going to have this love triangle thing going on for another 12 books? Because I don't know if I can handle it. I just would prefer her to make a decision and then go on through the series with, like, that couple together. Like, it really bothers me that we're still just drawing this out because it seems so unnecessary after 12 books. Like, and I know who I want her to pick, and it's just every time that she sways on her decision, it just pisses me off even more. So I say, but overall the plot of this one I did really, really love, but I just couldn't give it more because of all those issues with it. So in the end, I gave this one 3 stars. The next book that I completed was Counting Backwards by Laura Lascaso. So this is the book that I picked up randomly from the library doing like the scavenger hunt. And so I really didn't know anything about this before I picked it up. I'd never heard of it. It is a young adult story set in a mental institution about a young girl whose father basically sends her to, she steals a car, and rather than be punished, her father organizes for her to go to this mental institution. This book has some really great diversity. Obviously, it has a lot of characters with mental health issues, and also the main character is half Native American, and her father is Native American, and it is her heritage and stuff is spoken about quite openly between her and her father at different points, so that I really loved. I can't say if it's good representation because I myself am not Native American, obviously. I also can't really speak to the representation on mental health. I myself have, you know, I have suffered somewhat with mental health issues more in my teenage years, so much than I do now, but I don't have anywhere near kind of severe mental health disorders that the people in these books do. The part that I struggled with most was the mental, like, facility. I didn't buy into, it just didn't seem realistic. Like, the facility didn't seem realistic. And again, I can't say whether that's true because I've never been in a mental facility, but it just didn't feel real. But I really did appreciate the commentary in this on mental health and receiving therapy. Obviously, because she's in a mental facility, she does receive therapy and stuff throughout, and that is talked about, and that she is really resistant to that obviously at first, and I really appreciated all the commentary in there about that. There's a romance in it, which like isn't always necessary for me in these stories, but I did like enjoy it for the most part. You could really feel the main character's anger, like she's really angry, and like that to me was just really good because I feel like that's very true to a lot of people's teenage experiences. I myself had, I struggled with my emotions as a teenager in how to, I had a lot of emotions, and it sounds really stupid, but I didn't know how to express those emotions in a healthy way. And the main character's anger, like I could just feel it, like, and that she didn't know how to express her anger, and because of that she had all these issues with anxiety and all of these things, and because she was just like suppressing all of these things, and like obviously she had a really, really hard home life, which I didn't have. I'm lucky I had very supportive parents, but yeah, so I thought it had a lot of good stuff in it, basically. I can't speak to a lot of the issues, but I took a lot out of it, and I thought it was a really good story, and in the end, I gave it 3.75 stars. The final book that I read from the 1st through the 15th of August was Orange, the Complete Collection Volume 2 by Ishigo Takano. So I really loved the first volume, and I did still really enjoy this one, but I definitely don't think it was as strong as the first volume, and that's mainly just because of the ending. The ending felt very abrupt. It almost felt like the author was just like, nah, that'll do, and just like ended it, and it felt incomplete in a way. It is still super cute, and I like that, again, it does talk about mental health, because from what I understand, and again, I can't speak to this because I'm not Japanese and I'm not a part of Japanese culture, but I understand that's something that's not spoken about a lot in Japanese culture. So I appreciate that the author tried to talk about depression and, you know, mental health issues with teenagers, but it just, the second volume just, I really wanted a bit more from it, but I did still really enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 stars. So those are all of the books that I read in the first half of August. I feel like my thoughts and opinions were just a complete mess in this video, so I hope you took something away from this and what I thought of these books. I would love to chat in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, if you have any thoughts, or if you've got any questions on any of my opinions, because as I said, I know I was not the most articulate person in this video. I would love to chat in the comments down below. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want more from my channel. That's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys!